Hi, I'm Patricia Tomowski from healingals.org, and this is my partner, Scott Douglas,
Hi, how you doing?
and this is Dr. Joyce Brown, a 32-year ALS survivor. Please say hello, Joyce.
Hi there. Pleased to be here this morning. Looking forward to this.
Dr. Joyce was diagnosed with ALS in 1988. She had severe muscle weakness and muscle atrophy. She was still able to walk with the help of an ankle brace, short distances, and she virtually completely lost her voice. That was her biggest problem. Nobody could understand her, and she also had severe weakness in her neck. She could not hold her head up without a neck brace. She found a very well-respected medical doctor who also specialized in both homeopathy and acupuncture. Finally, she went to see a neurologist at the ALS clinic in Salt Lake. So in June, she got an appointment with the neurologist in Salt Lake, and he told her, yes, you definitely have ALS, and you have 5 months to live. Now, fortunately, Joyce didn't die in 5 months because here it is 2020 and she's still around. She attributes her healing to a lot of prayer, to changing her diet, which she completely did. She also did the homeopathy, and she also did sleep teaching, which she's going to explain to us in this video. So today, Dr. Joyce is almost 87 years old. After she was diagnosed, she got her naturopathic doctor degree, and so she's now an ND. She also runs, she actually founded a suicide prevention nonprofit organization called Stress and Grief Relief, which she continues to run today. And she also has an 800 number that people still call, and she actually counsels people over 20 hours a week. She just gives her time freely and talks to them. So, Dr. Joyce, welcome.
I'm very thrilled and honored to be able to share my story and hope that it will bring hope to someone else. But I had the symptoms of not being able to hold up my head, being very weak, my ankles were twitching. I didn't know what was going on. And my voice had gone to where people were very uncomfortable to even talk to me. I'd almost completely lost my voice. And when I went to the doctor and he did his test, and told me, I don't think I'd even really heard that much about ALS before, but when he told me I had myasthenia gravis and also ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, I was stunned. And he says, well, it won't matter about the myasthenia if you don't get hold of the ALS. I didn't really believe him at the time. It just seemed too ridiculous or too way out. And then when I discovered what it was, I decided I was going to check with other doctors because I just didn't believe I had it. But they confirmed it, and finally I went to a neurologist, as you said, and did his tests. And I was expecting to say, you don't have it. And he said, stick out your tongue, you'll see you can't hold it still. I didn't know my tongue quivered. When I couldn't hold it still and it quivered, then I realized what he was saying was true. And he says, you're doing very well for the stage you're in. You might make it to Thanksgiving, which was only 5 months away. It was devastating. That was a lot for me to accept. But I kept doing the treatments and doing the sleep teaching. Every night we go to sleep. Our conscious mind goes to sleep, but the subconscious is awake and able to accept suggestions. And what's really important in any healing, diet, what we eat, but what we think. But also, I first give credit to God because I believe God can guide us in prayers and our faith, but also in using the sleep teaching, which is miraculous positive affirmations. It can help change the thinking to positive belief. And with positive belief, we can change our feelings and change our life. And I know that was one of the main things that really helped me to come through, was believing I could, just absolutely immersing myself in positive affirmations. I can, I will, I do. And that's some of the most important things. And also then keeping an attitude of hope, belief, and doing.
So, first of all, how did you even hear about sleep teaching? Like, you had actually been using sleep teaching before, right? And I think because you were in a lot of pain because of all your accidents. You had several car accidents and 8, I think, spinal surgeries, you said. Is and can you kind of go about how you learned about sleep teaching?
I learned about sleep teaching actually, in about 1959. And I went from a very shy person to being self confident, knowing I could do different things. I even did modeling, which I discovered wouldn't be an answer. But I really, first time I was on television, I didn't have butterflies. And I went from being a very um, intimidated person. In fact, I have a picture in my book. I mean, with a helmet on for an army helmet, like, saved my life in rock fights. I didn't know when I totally changed. Then I was living life as I thought I was going to be, and then I was in a bad car accident, and which resulted in 8 major back surgeries, which basically failed. But when I went to the hospital to have my surgeries, I took my sleep teaching with me. Back when I had it that many years ago, they were on records and recordings. And I took them to keep as positive as I could to really make my thoughts what they should be. Later, I had them developed and changed into CDs to be able to listen to them constantly. The ones that I have now are digitally made so that they can be used in almost any kind of a digital program. And I listen to them constantly because it's really important, our thinking. Before we do something, we have to take over our mind and actually get some good actions. There were many things that were happening in my life, but with the power of prayer and with the power of positive thinking with sleep teaching, I was able to handle them. I had miraculous results. And one day when I was praying, it was after 16 weeks of treatments. All of a sudden, it was as if a light gray smoke came up off of me, and I was miraculously healed. And I know the way to be healed was from the other things that I was doing. My change of attitude, eating correctly, taking the homeopathy, gave me a whole new outlook on life and a whole new life. I did get my voice back. It came back much even more youthful and strong than it was. My muscles, I had lost a lot of muscles, which had atrophied. The muscles didn't come back. Now, the difference between muscle problems with myasthenia gravis is they weaken with myasthenia gravis, but they don't atrophy. But with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, the muscles atrophy. And so some of those didn't come back, like my wrist or my hands and things. But I had my strength back. I had my life back. I was totally healed. I know they don't like to say you're cured, but to me, in my mind, I'm cured. My doctors told me that it was gone, and it was miraculous results. I could go dancing. I could do whatever I wanted. I had all my energy.
Fantastic. How were you able to keep your faith? I know you actually healed very quickly in 16 weeks, but during this time, you were going to 3 different ALS clinics. You were going to 3 different ALS support groups. And how did you maintain your faith during that time?
I maintained my faith by continuously listening to the powerful affirmations and not letting any negative thoughts come in. However, I did go to the support groups. It was very interesting. When I went to the support group in Salt Lake, I was sitting there listening, and they went around to everyone and asked how long they had had it, how many symptoms. It was really also very interesting because they came to a lady who was very anxious to tell them about her brother who had been on a feeding tube. He was really bad. And when he started using certain types of nourishment and some antibiotics, he got much better, was able to go on a vacation. They skipped over that one really quick. But hearing all of how it was going to die, and one of the things they said, do whatever you want because you're going to die anyway. Think whatever you want because you're going to die anyway. If you're in a relationship you don't like, get out of it because you're going to die anyway. I thought, I don't like what I'm hearing there. So I went to a support group in California. I was sitting there waiting. In came all these scooters with people who had ALS and differing stages of ALS. I heard the same thing there. Do whatever you want. You're going to die anyway. That didn't sound very promising to me because I knew the value of thoughts. So I kept listening to my miraculous affirmations and believing. And then I decided, okay, I'll go to another support group in Nevada. That was most interesting. Now, all of this happened over a very short period of time. But when I went to support group in Nevada, what was interesting about it was people were very upset because their neurologist wasn't around. But they were living much longer, I mean, many years longer. And so the social worker came in and asked them why they were living longer. And as they said, for their families, because they had more of a belief they were needed. I thought, that really comes to what I'm thinking and doing, and that is the miraculous positive affirmations with every thought, not keeping any negative thoughts in there and having power of positive belief. So I didn't go to any more support groups. Why go there when they're just telling me all the reasons and things that won't work? So I had miraculous results, and I believe others can too. I don't know where everyone is, what stage they're in, but it begins with trying and then doing, giving
Yeah.
it the opportunity.
So I think what's interesting is in Nevada group, the way you explained to us was that in Nevada, they actually couldn't see neurologists because there weren't enough neurologists. And so the ALS people, they said, well, they're going to die anyway. So we're going to they couldn't see a neurologist because they had ALS, whereas everybody else was ahead of them because at least the neurologists felt they could do something. And so this group that couldn't see the neurologist was actually doing better.
They were doing better because in the other groups, they were telling them how soon they were going to die. In the Nevada group that just had a social worker and she didn't know what to say or tell them about their symptoms and how that meant or how it was progressing. They were living longer because they didn't have someone telling them how soon they were going to die. And so they were able to keep their mind focused on why they should live and what they could do. That's my belief. And as time's gone on, I've been able to see that happen with many different things. As we believe, so may we achieve and have happened in our lives.
Okay. I also want to let everybody know that hopedoctor.org is Joyce's website. It is both a suicide prevention website as well as you can get those sleep teaching CDs on that website.
And we have a special page. You go to hopedr.org/ALS, and we're going to have a special page on there. You can read what I'm doing. We do the stress and grief relief. We help change stress to success. We have unique coping techniques for anger management, depression, traumatic stress, and suicide prevention to help people. We're known for helping those who feel like there's no hope, helping the hopeless find hope for living, because as we believe, so shall we receive. But the important thing there is miraculous affirmations and keeping on, and finding the good in all days that we have them, because it's not what's gone that counts. It's what we have left and how we use it. So I appreciate that, because the Hope Doctor gives hope. I've been becoming more and more people saying they have help from the Hope Doctor. And so the hopedoctor.org, and we're making special arrangements for those who want more information and those who want the affirmations, and also my book that I had written on having had a near-death experience. So God's Heavenly Answers. I've had many different things happen in my life. I have many miracles, and I want to share those miracles, because as I've had miracles, I can help others achieve miracles in their life too. I know how important it is for ALS to have positive things. If they're going to, maybe not everyone's going to make it, but we have to try and expect. As we expect, so shall we receive. We also have the CD, for the power of belief for positive affirmations, miraculous affirmations, and we have a special arrangements for those who want to go there. Just leave your address or your email so we can get in touch with. We'll make sure. For whatever works for you, for donations, we don't sell them, we give them away. But if someone's able to help with our cause, whatever we can do, we'll make sure that they get all the information we can, because life is filled with miracles, and we expect more miracles for them.
Fantastic. So so donations for Hope Doctor, because Joyce has to actually produce these and mail them out, it costs money. So anyone who can give a donation and ask for the CDs, then just use the contact form at hopedr.org. Okay,
and
I have
hopedr.org/ALS will have a page on there where they can put their email. But we want everyone to receive it who possibly can. If someone can make it, for a little more, if they can do $20, that would cover the items and the mailing, hopefully. And then if you can do any more, please do it, because we're really in need of your help. the world is filled with people who feel like it's hopeless and want to give up. We're giving hope and helping wherever we can. We know that there are miracles out there, and we want to be a miracle for you and do whatever we can. Life is just filled with joy and happiness. Maybe you can help stop suicide and help others live, because life is worth living and loving, and life is a journey. It's not a destination.
Okay. So, Joyce, I have a question for you about your teeth, because you had a near-death experience
Oh,
back in 1983, right? Is that correct? 1983?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, I had been ill. I had rheumatoid arthritis. I was bedridden. I had repeated pneumonia. This is 1983. And I took all kinds of antibiotics, but I was allergic to the antibiotics, and no one could find out what was wrong. And when my white blood count got so low that the doctor told me I wasn't going to live and I was going to be dying, I was more thrilled than someone else would have been if they would have won tickets to the lottery. I used to have want to die. From the time I was young, at 6 years old, I was seriously sexually molested. I had a very unhappy childhood. And then my mother, when I was about 8, took me to a funeral. And I heard how nice the other side is and the peace. And so I thought, I'm very practical. Let me out of here. I just wanted to die and go to that place I thought where I could have a place of peace. So from then on, I just wanted to die and was suicidal. In 1980, my father committed suicide. I remember looking at that steel gray casket and having it reinforced to me that I just wanted to go and die and be on the other side. And then after developing all the illnesses where I was so ill, and I had bleeding down the back of my head, no one could find out what was wrong, with none of the antibiotics working, and then being told I was going to die, I was thrilled. But I was really ill. In fact, there's a picture in the book of how sick I was. And then one morning, I woke up feeling even worse. I thought, oh, I please want just enough time to get my burial arrangements made. So I dragged myself into the bathtub. Now, if I had known what was going to happen, I'd have gone to a different place probably. But I wanted to be in a reverent position to ask for just enough time to get my burial arrangements done. As I knelt at the tub and prayed, a voice said to me, oh no, if you come now. And I was up and out of my body looking down at it. It was shocking because it was not that place of peace. All of a sudden, I had a life review and realized how I had wasted my valuable earth time, just giving up, wanting to die. Our earth time is very limited. None of us know when we will not have a tomorrow. So we have to make the best use of today, regardless of what's going to happen. Make the best use of today. All of us only have so much time, and we don't know how much time that is. But pleading on the other side to come back, and it felt like a definite no. There were many things that I was shown, which are covered in the book. All of a sudden, I saw a gold crown tooth. It was a huge gold crown tooth. And I knew that there was something about that tooth that had to do with my being so ill. Then all of a sudden, I was back in my body. I wasn't that wispy being anymore. I could feel my face. I rallied back in a day or two and had my mother take me to the dentist. I told him he had to pull the tooth. He said, does it hurt? I said, no, but it has to come out. He took an x-ray. Nothing showed on the x-ray. I had to sign a paper taking away his liability to take out what looked like a perfectly good tooth. After it was out, you could see that the roots were all blackened and darkened. And it was amazing. Within 24 hours, the bleeding down the back of my head stopped. And in 2 to 3 weeks, the arthritis was cleared up. That bad infected tooth had been really up into my sinuses, giving inflammation and making me so ill. From then on, I was so appreciative for life. I said, I will do whatever I can to help others, to help them find how to make the best use of each day. As I said, our time is limited, but we have miracles available. So I've tried to help others to reach to understand and receive miracles. Then I started the nonprofit organization, Stress and Grief Relief, in 1999. It's moved forward, had many, many people whose lives we're saving. But we need the message for all of us. No matter what's going on, we can all have many different things happen in our lives. But if we have miraculous affirmations and belief, we can create miracles for ourselves and for others.
Fantastic, Joyce. That's beautiful. Since you knew nothing about amalgams back in 1983, and since you became a naturopathic doctor after you healed from ALS, what have you since learned about these silver fillings in our mouths?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked about the silver fillings because interestingly enough, while I was on the other side, not only did I learn that that tooth was a big portion of my problem, I had tremendous knowledge just come rushing in. And one of them was how bad the amalgam fillings were, the silver and mercury. And so in my book, I just put a little nugget that until I had the near-death experience, I didn't know the problems that silver and mercury, the amalgam could cause in the body. But I believe so many of our illnesses are caused by problems in our teeth. And so before my near death, I didn't know that. But on the other side, that was one of the things that was revealed to me. So I had all my fillings out right after. And so I believe that helped me. So when it was time for uh, when I had the ALS, I'd already had the amalgams out. Another thing I learned on the other side was how important it is for natural things. Now, before I had my near-death experience, I was only into medications. But while I was on the other side, I saw that we're really still in the dark ages when we have an accident or need to go to the doctor with something like that. But otherwise, I saw the importance of natural health. That's why later I became a naturopath and went into studying the natural health because I saw that we were in the dark ages. More important things are still coming that will tell us where we're at, how to overcome problems and health issues. And we're still basically in the dark ages. But what we can do for ourselves naturally, one of the main things also is to help take causes of illnesses out, like for stress, to relaxation, the meditation that we have a CD4 to also help, which makes a huge difference to be able to meditate. Think of each part of our body healing, each part of the body getting the nutrients that it needs. But if we need a medication, we need a medication. But on the other hand, I found it's really go look on the internet and see what are the side effects, because many times the side effects of a medication can cause more problems than the symptoms it's trying to heal. As I said before, I had my near-death experience, which the knowledge that I had there, it was so important to realize the importance of natural healing. And the body is what we need to help heal, is our own immune system. What we eat, what we think, stress relief, or many different things that we can do to help our body. And to keep busy. Time is so important. I just love time. I can have 2 or 3 people a day. Even though as old as I am now, I have to have 2 or 3 shifts a day because I can't keep up to me. Even though my vision is mostly gone, and because of the back surgeries, I'm limited as how I can walk. But hey, I'm not limited how I can walk because of ALS. In fact, we have a tape that Scott and I made of being able to do the twist. Because even when you have problems walking, you can dance. I'm very active. I enjoy life. I'm not looking forward to going. I want to be here and do what I can to help the world be a better place. And then help the world so they know I was here.
You've done a great job, Joyce. I'm so impressed with you. I think one of the questions that a lot of people with ALS have is that it's very traumatizing to get a death sentence. And most people with ALS will also have experienced, like all of us, some major trauma in their lives. Okay, most people, when you actually look back, everyone has had a certain level of trauma, and people have trouble getting past that trauma. And somehow you have had more trauma than the average person by far. You were abused as a child. You actually were raped as an adult. You were a single parent. You were raised by a single parent. Just the number of things that you've said, it's almost unbelievable. How did you get past that trauma? And could you please share with the pals that are listening how you managed to get past that trauma and start looking forward instead of looking back, even with the death sentence?
I believe it is very important to realize that problems help us grow. And I've had a lot of trauma, a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, a lot of calamities. And someone will ask me, how come you have so many things like that? From my near-death experience and what I saw from an eternal perspective, I say it's because I'm just extra blessed, because we grow from our problems. And instead of staying in them, if we can take control of our thinking, because they're going to happen, it's a matter of keeping on, and controlling our thoughts and feelings, because they're going to happen. None of us know what's going to happen. But keep on with belief, because when the time's over, it will be over. But in the meantime, use every second, every minute, every hour that we can. I should probably reverse that: every hour, every day, every second. But another thing I do to help with problems is to mentally add 100 years to the problem and then see what is the real problem. Because it gets difficult to manage through these stresses and people putting us down, or the things that happen around us. But the main thing is to keep an eternal perspective, because all of us at some point are going to die. But use each minute as full as we can until then. And then if it's our time, to be ready to go, to face God. Now is the time to repent, do the best we can. And that's all we can do. Doing the best we can doesn't mean we have to actually be the best all the time. One of the amazing things I discovered on being on the other side was that trying counts. All we can do is what we can do, and then go on, because we have a new day every day. We have blessings come to us, we have problems and challenges. We put them in a proper perspective, and then look at the eternal perspective and see what really matters today. As we're talking about problems, I am big time into my things, into my stuff. I had a house that I built. I drew it a quarter of an inch to a foot, ran the subcontractors. It was 6,000 square feet. I even drew the windows on it. I loved my house. I had a recording studio. An arsonist burned it down. I mean, I remember standing looking at that rubble and thinking, there's nothing left on this planet to even show I was here. But I truly felt sorry for his soul. It's hard to be sorry for someone who does something bad to us. But at the same time, I truly did. Can you imagine how sad the most important thing to someone is to hurt someone else? There's been other things I've had come along, but I have to stop and think, what happened when I was on the other side? I used to really be big into justice. I thought before I had my near-death experience, all you had to do was find out who was right or wrong, and some great justice took place. I was really big into justice. But when I was on the other side, I discovered I didn't want justice anymore. I wanted mercy, but I also discovered that if I wanted to receive mercy, I had to give it to someone while I was here alive. That meant they had to do something to me that I didn't like so I could forgive them. Now, when I first came back, I said, oh, let someone do something terrible to me so I can forgive them. I don't need to say that anymore, because I get many opportunities like that. But I also, as I said, sometimes you just take a problem that you've had, add 100 years to it, and see now what will be the real challenge with it.
Thank you, Joyce. That's wonderful wisdom. So for the pals out there right now that are listening that can't move, they're no longer able to work, so they're feeling discouraged and depressed. A lot of them can't speak. Several are on a vent and a feeding tube. And how on earth do you stay positive in that state when you can't move, you're dependent completely on other people, and you're so discouraged?
I understand. It wasn't that bad with the ALS, but I could have been. But no matter where we are, we need to keep the positive attitude of I can, I will, I do. After one of my back surgeries, when I was in the hospital, I was totally paralyzed with pain from the shoulders down. I couldn't even move my toe without it being so extreme. It sent me into a terrible shock of pain. But I kept on believing no matter what. I can, I will, I do. One day came where I could move my toe, and some of the feelings came back. I had a bad inner disc infection that I was paralyzed from the shoulders down. But for ALS, was what's happening, I'm not sure what's going to happen, except that I know that if we keep on making the best of each hour that we're at is all that we can do. And then if it's our time to go, we've made the best of whatever time we have. My heart goes out. I didn't want to talk about ALS, As you know, until you contacted me, Tish, in 2014, I didn't want to talk about it because it was so horrendous. But now I want to do whatever I can to help whoever I can. If you can have 1 hour better, 1 minute better, from anything I can do or say, I want to help. Because life is what happens while we're busy making other plans. The other thing I discovered is there's usually someone around us that's always worse off in some way. So to be as pleasant and loving and kind as we can around each person who's around us, thank them and feel grateful for what we have, not for what we don't have. I said my heart goes out to everyone. I want to help whatever I can with the positive thinking, positive belief, and prayers. I do know that prayers can bring miracles. Life is what happens to us while we're busy making other plans. And we're each of us only one. But we are one. So as we do something with the help of God, we can help to be a miracle for someone else. As we believe in miracles, we're more apt to receive in miracles. Life is each day, each hour.
So, Joyce, how much do you think that your mental attitude has actually helped you heal ALS? Like, if you had to do a percentage, do you think that you would have healed from ALS had you not been positive?
That's a great question. Do I believe I would have been healed had I not been mentally positive? I do not believe I would have healed had I not kept my mind just totally focused on I can, I will, I do, and belief in the prayer. It's much easier for God to give us a miracle if we believe we're going to receive it. The mind is like a magnet that can attract iron filings to a magnet. Our mind attracts to us what we think about. So I believe absolutely in my heart that some of the biggest measures of my success with the ALS was because of my mentally programming my mind continuously. I can, I will, I do. I breathe in easily, thinking right thoughts. I know that's a big part of it. We can't, any of us, become more than we believe we can. We have to start with prayer and then with belief. Our mind can create us miracles. Yeah,
That's so good. I love it because, Joyce, I think you did all the physical stuff. You did the homeopathy. You followed the instructions about your diet. You did the physical things for healing, but you also did the mental things. And I think I want our audience to know, Joyce, I remember in 2017, your discs are in such a mess in your back that you were in constant pain. I don't think people realize that. And back in 2017, your orthopedist said, you probably only have 6 months to live. You can die at any time. Get ready. And yet your focus right now is on living, and it's on giving to others. And Joyce, truly lives, no matter what physical condition she's in. She does give the best each day. She's working, I think you said, about over 20 hours a week. She's counseling people on the phone. She is unbelievable, by the way. Joyce has, she's blind, she can't see, but she can see a tiny, tiny bit. So she's got this iPhone that has this huge print on it because she has to look really close in order to see anything. It's pretty amazing how independent you manage to be, regardless of what's happening, and how active you are. I am totally impressed. So just to say, Joyce lives what she says. Absolutely.
Thank you. May I tell you a little more about that? When I was told that any minute I could go, in fact, they said the kindest thing that would happen for you is that you just didn't wake up tomorrow morning, because I have several places on my back that is pressing right on the spinal cord. Right now, I'm in extreme pain. It's excruciating going down my leg. So what? I'm needed right now, so we have to keep on keeping on. But I at first was real. Oh, my little baby! You got to see my little baby. She makes my life really interesting. She made a little sound there. She wanted to tell you hello. But anyway, when they told me that I could have any minute that I wouldn't be living, I mean, I could go. It really shook me up at first. And then I realized, well, I had friends around me who kind of got to know, well, you've been told you were going to die before and you didn't. You were told you wouldn't have a memory anymore and you didn't. I'm so positive. One time I hit the back of my head and I said, oh, maybe it put something back in place. Turned out I had bad concussions, and they told me that my memory was gone. It wasn't going to come back. I had a granddaughter that said to me, Grandma Joyce, They told you you'd never walk again. They told you you was going to die. Why are you believing him? You won't get your memory back. I got my memory back. In fact, I had a test for in December that my brain is so active, it's always going. So anyway, I believe the power of thought can do wonders to overcome pain, keep on keeping on. You know, I think one of the things, let me just tell you, when a football player is out on the field and he's really working for that touchdown, many times they don't feel the pain. They just keep on. So I believe the mental of knowing that we're going to do something, looking forward to something, and keeping on, makes such a big difference in what we can do now, and what we can do for the body healing for our whole lives.
Joyce, thank you so much. I'm going to let everybody know, and then I'm actually going to ask Scott if he has a couple of questions, but I do want to let everybody know there's going to be a part 2, and we will have a live question and answer. So take a look for that soon. And go ahead, Scott, ask your questions. What would you like to add?
Well, I would like to add that it is incredible how you can turn your pain off. You just mentioned that you were in excruciating pain down your leg, but you're able to focus and continue the way you're continuing now. I would probably be at least grimacing or flinching. How are you able to make that connection, just like that football player going for the drive, not feeling any pain? How are you able to do that?
I didn't say I didn't feel any pain, but I have a higher focus because I have, in addition to the places where it's pressing right on the spinal cord, I have 5 compression fractures in my back. I have 3 herniated discs in my neck. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying life. I just have to keep on keeping on. And so the main thing is with mind power. We can be self-hypnosis. We can keep our own focused mind, our mind focused on what we want. And my opportunity to help anyone else today makes the pain minor in comparison. Can everyone do that? I don't know, but I really can focus my mind power because of using those miraculous, powerful affirmations. Now, I will have on my website a little more how to do that at thehopedoctor.org, and then going forward, ALS, and then some more information on it. But we can take control of our mind and feeling so much of it. If we concentrate and just think of the pain, we get more of whatever we think about. So if we concentrate on the pain, we'll get more of it. However, I don't want anyone around someone who has ALS for someone else to tell them how they should think or how they should feel. They're doing the best they can. As I said, I also discovered that trying counts. So do the best you can, but don't put yourself down. Just think of yourself as a winner. Keep your mind on being a victor. You are not a victim. You can do it. And I'll be a coach for you whenever I can to help you to whatever degree. I can't be everywhere, but I will do what I can. Yes, I do take phone calls whenever I can make it work with it. I do around 5,000 minutes a month doing coaching, working with people, because they don't realize they can do more than we even begin to think we can.
And a lot of pals are, struggling with this on a daily basis. That's very important, what you just said. But also, they're not getting enough sleep at night. They're not exercising like somebody with mobility would be exercising. So, how does your sleep affirmations help someone? Do they go into a deeper sleep, or is it more like you're in a trance listening to the voice? Because you've done a lot with your voice, and your voice is almost hypnotic to me. So, how does that affect someone?
I appreciate that because people tell me when they listen to the Miraculous Affirmations CD, which can be in any digital format. I usually have it so it's on my phone going almost continuously. People tell me they do fall asleep better, they feel better as they awaken with more energy. And then I also have the meditation CD to go into a deeper level of thought and control. But it does make a difference when you're asleep. But also, as you get control of your mind, all of you know, that if you're excited and you're positive with something, you don't even need as much sleep. But if you mentally control your thinking to the best you can, if you try to relax your blood veins and your muscles, sometimes they get more tense. But if you breathe in and out and mentally think of some place that is relaxing, letting your mind just go on something that's relaxing, feeling good, you have a better chance of going to sleep. One of the difficulties of going to sleep many times is to try to get our thinking to calm down and think of being calm and feeling better all over from head to toe. It's getting control of our thinking. trying to get the mind to work with us instead of against us. That is one of the most important things. And then also, I don't need as much sleep as most people. As I get older, I mean, it's now I'm not saying everybody can do this, but it still comes down to mind control, working with the body, the mind, and rest. But many times I only get 3 or 4 hours sleep a night and I'm up ready to go. And I have 2 or 3 people a day, they just cannot even keep up to me because life is exciting. It's not what's gone that counts, it's how we have left and how we use it. And even if it's our time to go, then using the time into thinking positive thoughts, studying the scriptures, helping someone else around us so we help them have a kind day, a good day. And especially when someone is down, be sure to thank the caregiver because they're giving prayers and concern. We have some marvelous caregivers that are helping. It needs to be a partnership with ourselves, with God, whoever's helping us, and then enjoying the making the best of every day. And then looking forward to something. If we can find something we can think of good to think of instead of the dread or the doubt. Thoughts are powerful. It's amazing what we can do with our thoughts.
Well, you're living proof of that.
I am so grateful to have this opportunity to talk to people, to help share with them my experience. Because life is a journey, it's not a destination. And my little one here, little dog named Kitty, wants to tell you hello too, because she knows that life is worth living and trying to help the hopeless find hope. But another book I'm writing, I do want to say, is what to do before and after the doctor says nothing more can be done. Because there are many things that can be done. So keep hope, keep living, keep trying. And then another book I'm working on is Heavenly Miracles. I've had many miracles. I lived, I died, I live again now with a profound message of life is worth living. And I also want to get out the message of my life before and after ALS. Heavenly miracles and earthly questions answered for all who are interested in finding the answers to the best we can.
Perhaps you can give some advice on this because there's a family dynamic between caregivers and ALS patients that is extremely difficult and can add a lot of stress to both the caregiver and the person being cared for. What advice would you give to the caregiver, and what advice would you give to the person with ALS with that dynamic, which is extremely difficult on both sides?
You know, I think one of the best advice I could give to the caregiver and also to the person with ALS is that we can't solve things for someone else. And so if the caregiver can be patient and realize that ALS patients doing the best they can, but not giving advice to someone, let each person handle their particular problem the best they can, and then look for something that might be joyous for both to the best we can, whether it's a sunset, something, and keep the mind and words on what we want off of what we don't want, because each one thinks we can see the solution for the other. But until we're in someone else's shoes, we don't know what's going to work for each person. My little dog Kitty likes to add in here. But so I think one of the main things is to be kind, loving, and understanding, and realize we don't need to solve someone else's problem. Just do what we can for each minute, each hour, each day. I think it is so important to realize we can control our words. We can try to give kind words, think of what it's going to mean to someone else, not just getting our feelings out there, but words are powerful. So we need to do our thoughts of being kind and loving and merciful for those who can drive, even on the freeway. But each day is only what we can handle that day. But someone else is all having problems and challenges. So to try to be aware without trying to control someone else's life or their thinking, saying, why didn't you? You know, one of the things I think is a very empty question is when someone said, why did you do that? No one knows why they did it. But to be patient, kind, and loving is so important, especially the more that we're into life, the more things that are happening around us. Problems are the opportunities in workflows to find solutions, to reap miracles. Another paper we have is how to reap miracles that we can try to get out to give people. There are miraculous ways to reap miracles, but one of the first things is to be grateful for what we have, for what we have left, to be kind and loving and forgiving, Those are some of the most important things we can do for ourselves, for others, and for the world.
Thank you, Joyce. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Life is too short to be angry and hold grudges.
Goodbye, Joyce. Thank you so much.
Joyce, you are wonderful and you are a living inspiration and a testimony to others. Keep up the good work and hopefully we'll be able to dance again.
I've so appreciated this opportunity to be able to speak from my heart to their heart, your heart, not edited. I can't even read my own writing, so there's no script except truly from my heart to yours. And thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to whoever listens and whatever I can do to help.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.